Okay, so on the last video, you guys might have noticed that Dave and Liam were having a slight problem with door gaps. So, having done a few calculations with a tape measure, it's quite clear that the cross member is in the wrong place. So, unfortunately, there's only one thing for it. Snippy, snip, snip, snip.
Well, shit. It's the only way we can explain it, isn't it? Shit. So, yeah, when we lifted the tub on originally, we were all very excited about the fact that we'd managed to get the tub back on. It was a big moment, wasn't it?
Huge, yeah. It felt like a boost.
Massive boost. And we put all the bolts in the back there and it looked fantastic. And then I went underneath it and noticed there was a gap between these front legs here, which you can probably see, and the front of the tub. Now, foolishly, at that point, I just went, okay, maybe we got the measurements on the front wrong. No. So you'll have seen in the last video, we were spending many hours, many hours, trying to get the door gap right by moving the bulkhead. Now, fortunately for us, we have a bit of a mentor that's able to steer us in the right direction. And as soon as we'd mentioned that we'd got seven shims, on one side of the bulkhead, it suddenly dawned on Mick that there's absolutely no way that the front end was going to go back together. So fortunately, at this point, he did. This is a very good point, yes. Again, after breaking it to us that we may need to cut the rear cross member off, once I picked Dave up off the floor and I'd stopped having a tantrum, Mick the following day very kindly came in and did some measuring for us, and it did indeed confirm that the bulkhead was in the right place without the shims. And by having all of the shims that we did have on the front, there was no way the front end was going to go on in a million years. So unfortunately, the cross member's got to be cut off, and we have to move its position, which is a bit of a blow. It wasn't at all what we were expecting, but it is the right thing to do, and we wanted to share it with you, which is the reason why we put the last video up, because it's important for you to understand that mistakes do happen. It is shit, but as Mick very rightly said many times, it's not the end of the world. We can fix this, and the man, the myth, the legend indeed, has already started work on it. So he's cut the cross member off here, which you can see on both sides. Now these measurements are rough at the minute because we've moved it around and they've got shifted out, but it's approximately 10 mil too far forward on the passenger side, 15 mil too far forward on the driver's side, and 10 mil too high on the back as well. So the feet weren't actually touching these little supports just here. We cock up, so you don't have to. So what's on the cars tonight? So we've gone backwards a little bit. Dave's purchased some new doors to make himself feel better. Shopping. So the datum of the bulkhead is spot on. And we've got those measurements off two known chassis that we know have never been touched. If they're original chassis, what's left of them, but the measurements are still the same. So we can hang the doors, get the gap right on the doors themselves, then we know exactly where the doors need to hang and need to sit. We can bolt the bulkhead up properly, so we know that it's right. Then we will lay the tub back on, get that sitting correctly, shim the tub to get the door gap right on the doors, so we can move the bulkhead forwards and backwards. Get that correct, then we know the exact location of the rear cross member. And that's the point that we can start tacking it up.
I think essentially our big error was we didn't drop a tub on, did we, after we did all the chassis work? We
didn't. Now, Bob's tub is not original. It's off another vehicle. Not that that's an excuse. They're all exactly the same length and size and within spec anyway. But what we did do is we took measurements based off Bob's old chassis, which had been butchered, as you're probably aware. It had got, bits on it all over the place. The outriggers were in wrong directions and so on. Wrong locations. So now we know that everything else is spot on, we can now get the tub back on and get it right. So our message to you is, if you're doing this, A, don't put the fuel tanks on until you put the don't put the fuel tanks on until you put the tub on, because those bastard bolts are a nightmare. And don't, if you're doing a cross member, don't fit it without a tub. You need to have the tub to give you your datum for where to put it. Anyway, lessons learned.
Wise words.
Wise words indeed. Just please don't make the same mistake as us. So now we're going to get on and fix it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
These are some doors that we have from Paintman Panels. So we're going to give them a whirl. Step one, hang in the doors.
So Dave's going to take you around the other side and show you fitting the other door. Go, Dave.
Let's go. Next stage, tub. Should we get it on?
Well, not right there, Dave, but let's put the tub on instead. Here we see the natural Dave.
It's definitely not natural, Dave.
Where's my computer? Dave is currently inserting bolts and nuts.
What string washer on, Dave?
I did. Yes, sir.
Okay, we ready, Dave? Are we ready, mate?
Gun's going the right way.
It is now.
Ready?
No. Yeah.
Okay. So, what you'll have seen just there is, well, we tightened some screws, but beforehand, Mick was adjusting the door in a professional way, in the only way that was set out by Land Rover.
And Ford Motor Company.
And Ford Motor Company, which was to hang off it until it fits. And now it does. So, there you go.
That's actually probably the best door gaps I've seen on Land Rover in a long, long time.
Until that rubbing down.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
See, now this side's too open now, so we can bring the body forward this side.
So shim it out.
Shim it forward.
Forward, yeah. So we've not moved the bulkhead. The bulkhead is fixed in place. We know that the outriggers are correct for the bulkhead, and we know we don't need to shim the bulkhead out. So what we're doing now is shimming the body forwards. So,
Exactly what Land Rover did.
yeah, because they use shim plates, don't they?
We'll have to make some
Using shims. Washers. So that side is spot on. So what we're going to do is bring this one forward slightly, using some proper Land Rover shims. Yep. We're going to bring them forward to just close this gap up a little bit, because it's not far off. Comparing it to other Land Rovers, it's about the same, but that one is just so perfect. We're going to actually bring it forward a little bit and make it So there we go. So in the background, the boys are making some shims out of aluminium sheet. So they're cutting the bits up, they'll drill the holes in it, and then we'll be able to use a number of them to get the shim gap right. That's currently what's happening in the background. I will take you and show you. So David, what are you doing?
Well, I've just guillotined 4mm thick aluminium on the guillotine over there, and now I'm just filing the burrs off.
So this is a guillotine over here. And we're not going to mention the fact that Mick had to bounce on it several times, and you just basically stood near it. We're not going to mention that. So here we are
Deburring.
And he's basically making some shims, drill holes in them, and then this is what we'll use to shim for the tub forward slightly. Very good. 600 pounds.
Happy with that? Oh my god.
Everything's fine, Dave. Right, so progress update. The door gap is mint. A couple of little shims, proper made shims, not washers. We were jesting. It's actual proper plates.
Oh yes. Made out of vermibrite.
I think we showed them, didn't we?
Yeah.
So plates have gone on there now. You've got to bear in mind that there's a door seal and the latch and everything has to go on as well. So you've got to keep a bit of a gap now. Beforehand, I could actually get my fingers all the way in the door, but now I can't quite get them in. So that is about perfect, and you can see that it's equal top to bottom.
We've got the cappings on as well now.
And we've got the cappings on, yeah. So these are the cappings here, and you can see that they're perfectly flush with the top of the capping of the tub. And this line here is spot on. I think Dave feels a little bit better now, don't you, mate?
Oh, so much better.
The creaking of the doors that I don't know whether I filmed it, but Mick was just adjusting the doors.
Oh God.
And it was making some fairly horrible cracking sounds, and I think Dave actually pooed a little bit.
Is it supposed to have that?
Chocks away, oh boy. The RAF would be proud. So we've got chocks underneath the back of it. We've moved the cross member so that it sits flush and sits flush in all directions. The slits underneath it are ready to receive tacking. So door panels are set, bulkhead set, tubs set, everything lines up perfectly. So it's brilliant to see, and it's like arrow straight down the side of it. So what we've done underneath, what Mick's done is he's cut the rear cross member and he's separated it. He's then put 4 bits of steel to make a box section within it that is able to then slide the original cross member back over the top. So that allows us to move it out, up, down, left, right, all of that sort of stuff. So now we've got the tub bolted to the rear cross member. It's bolted up at the front with the correct shims, so the doors are correct. And now we've got the gap underneath, and the gap has opened up quite considerably. So what we're going to do is weld it up. We're going to tack weld it. Then that means that we can lift the tub back off, and then we can fully weld it up. Right. Now, so the way we're going to do this is triangulation. So we're going to, first of all, we've got this big box section of 4mm steel, 3mm steel on the inside, 4mm. So the plates are made up of 4mm steel, which is thicker than the chassis is anyway, because the chassis is 3mm.
Plug welded as well.
Plug welded from all sides, so it's proper strong. Then we're going to seam weld around both edges of it and fill the inside with weld as well. So you're going to end up with these joints being around 7mm thick. So actually it's much stronger than the original plating is. And you know, the 3mm steel box section is strong enough as it is. We're also going to put some triangulation on the back. So where the tow hitch fits, we're going to do some triangulated angle iron to brace up as well. So we're actually going to go above and beyond what you actually need. You don't need to do this, but we're going to belt and braces it. So first things first, you need to look down the edge here. Right, look how pin straight that is. All the way down. All the way down. Everything lines up. And the door gaps are spot on. Absolutely spot on. And all we've done this side is 2 shims, isn't it? So that's
4mm. No.
It's not 6, isn't it?
6mm.
6mm. So we've got 6mm shim in the body, the tub, to bring the tub forwards to get it in line. The bulkhead is set, as we've said. So we've got a nice equal door gap at the front, beautiful door gap at the back. Again, you can see along here, perfectly straight along the lining. The capping is spot on as well. Absolutely brilliant. And we wanted to make sure that you see it. Just to, you know, I know a lot of channels, you'll see everything bolted up and next thing you'll notice stuff has moved, but no explanation. and we're not going to mention any names at all. But we're just saying that, you know, we want to include all of the changes that we've had to make here, because, you know, this is potentially another 6 hours labour just to get to this point to be able to do it, but it's definitely the right way to do it.
So you will see just down here, Mick is tacking
So I don't know whether you could hear what's being done here.
We'll lift the body up. So Bob is back in his resting place now.
R.I.P. Bob.
Staying on for a minute, but what we'll do is get that lifted, and then we'll get that welded up, finished, painted, and it'll be like nothing ever happened.
We have got a little bit of touch-ups to do anyway on the cross member, where we've knocked it with the tub and that, so we can cutting it was just a side product of repainting it.
Yeah, I think in a previous video that was Andy that scratched that.
It definitely was. Yeah, this bit just here.
Yeah, definitely that bit there.
What's that? Some some weird Egyptian language, isn't it?
Andy's just off camera.
It's just off camera. It's quite
so, yeah, I think this will be a bit of a short video, won't it? Maybe, maybe not, but we will be uploading on Sunday going forward. If you're liking the videos, drop a like down below. Consider subscribing if you want to see some more Land Rover content, and we'll catch you in the next video.